Dun, 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 dun.
I know this is just one movie in a sea of other musical biopics. These are very trendy, at least they've been for the last couple years. But the last thing I anticipated going into originally covering Respect was a number of people that I would have asking me and really pleading with me to put coverage up to update myself. Because again, it's taken me a while to cover the movie. I'm finally getting back to it today. It's almost in theaters. I'm very excited for it. It took a while getting here, but I've been very impressed with the last couple trailers I've seen, including, especially with the first one. The first one, Jennifer Hudson has an incredible voice, and she certainly hits the notes. She's putting a lot of effort into, I would say, respecting and illustrating the story for us, for those of us who have never been big Aretha Franklin fans like back in the day, to teaching us about her and obviously witnessing her reliving those experiences of, you know, singing in whatever situations Aretha Franklin might have been in her life. Like I was saying, though, it was really surprising that the number of comments I got asking me, where's your trailer coverage? Where's your trailer coverage? People were very interactive with me in terms of getting coverage up, which was unusual. I mean, you get those comments from everybody like, hey, have you covered this? Have you covered that? And I'm like, oh, of course, you know, it takes me a while to get stuff up. But a lot of people were asking about Aretha Franklin and this movie. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to rush getting the videos out, it seems. I never got to finish covering it, though. I'm doing that today. I'm excited for it. I do have to say, you know, of my original comments, I've definitely softened up a bit, I think in part because the long COVID delay helps. But something I'd said originally with covering Respect was that they had released this, and some of you might remember this. I did cover it like I think I covered like 3 trailers for it. Respect. It was called Aretha Franklin Amazing Grace. It was a documentary that came out basically featuring her, and it was a beautiful documentary trailer. I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch. And somebody again like who never grew up a big Aretha Franklin fan. I not saying like, oh, I didn't like her music. I didn't really listen to it growing up. She has an incredible voice, and that trailer was so moving for that movie. I still have yet to see it. I really want to. But I was sitting there thinking, especially with the time that the first trailer came out for Respect, I was like, does it seem a bit like too close in terms of release dates? Like, we just had that documentary, so it seems like this movie, which is it's a retelling. It's not with documentary footage. It's from a new actress. It felt like a sliding the documentary a bit. I've softened up at this point by now because a lot of people have been pointing out that apparently Jennifer Hudson was an original selection by Aretha Franklin to play her. I did not know that going in originally. That is quite impressive information for me to learn. And it makes me respect this movie a whole lot more, especially with the effort that Jennifer Hudson's putting into it. It looks excellent, but since so much time has passed, I've really softened up. I'm like, hey, you know what? I've forgotten that original criticism. So I'm very excited to cover Respect again. It looked so great from the first couple trailers. Let's give this new one a look. We're going to watch this first, and we're going to talk about it more in my condensed review segment while I was watching the video together. Okay. I can't wait to hear the music. Again, musical biopics are very big right now. They've been for the past couple years, so it's just another one in the running, but hey, this one looks good. As good as Judy, and I love that movie. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was a really fun watch. An incredibly moving film.
Aretha's doing all right.
See, a girl can sing too.
Singing is sacred, and you shouldn't do it just because somebody wants you to. What's most important is that you are treated with dignity and respect.
That word obviously went to her head, right?
You're special, Ree. You have a talent they call genius.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
How old is she? She's 10, but her voice is going on 30, honey.
I am excited to see Jennifer Hudson.
And no hits.
I need you to focus and avoid frivolous distractions.
She's just hoping for a better success off of Cats.
Find a song that move you.
We all know how that turned out.
Ain't going nowhere.
Nothing against her, but it was that movie.
I want to sing what I want to sing.
Okay.
Find out what it means to me.
You really like it?
We love it.
Riri. It's really good.
I got a single by this new chick named Aretha Franklin.
Oh, that's fun. I love the big concert performances.
To present the Aretha Franklin Day.
You're not about to mess this up for me.
and gentlemen, Miss Aretha Franklin.
This song goes out to
I love that all these musical trailers will always feature a compilation of music and not just one song. Judy was like, it's featured like the last trailer like 4 or 5.
I know how to run my business.
Have you lost your mind?
Maybe I found it.
I believe I have the chills.
Yeah, I truly believe that she kind of does fall into that role.
She's a miracle.
This looks very good. Yeah, something that reminded me, you'll see this from time to time. Again, there's so many different musical movies out there. In particular, what I was noticing with this one was that when watching Judy, which again was just such a... You want a tearjerker. And a good musical biopic. And I knew nothing. It's very similar, like with Aretha Franklin. I didn't know about Judy Garland's story going in. It was very dramatic. A really good watch, though. Incredible performance. And yes, Renee Zellweger absolutely deserved that Oscar. I've seen people say, like, no, she didn't. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Anyway, respect. Very similar, I would say, in the subtlety and the... it's less bombastic compared to some other musical bonanzas. For example, I'm thinking... you make a comparison with... I'm looking at the concert sequence in particular. It reminds me a lot of Judy in that it felt very homely, subtle. It wasn't this big bonanza event. I mean, it kind of is with this one. It's a little more... adventurous in that regard than Judy's, because again, Judy's was just kind of down to earth when you watch that film. And she was singing, I forget exactly it was that she was singing, but it was a very like subtle, like dinner night sort of situation. Compared to like Rocket Man or something with, you know, Sir Elton John, it's like it's a big bonanza event, right? There's visuals everywhere, showy, flashy costumes and lights and everything else. It's very different. But this looks very good. I mean, again, I really do appreciate the subtlety. It just, especially with the concert sequence, it sounds very refined. But I do like, again, like I said, it's more just an exposure issue with me. In the reason that I didn't get a good chance to, as a kid, get heavily invested, maybe as some others did, with Aretha Franklin's music. Although I will say the music genre is very similar to a lot of other music I listen to. Some of you might know the Winans, right? For example, I was a huge fan of Vicki Winans back in the day. She's a Christian gospel singer. It's actually very similar in terms of music type. I mean, it's not necessarily like overly... Well, it's gospel music with a bit of a like adventurous flair to it. It's really cool. It almost has that pop edge that Aretha Franklin seems to at least put into her music. It's a bit bolder. There's some percussions in there. It's very lively. If you've never listened to Vicki Winans, she is an incredible... I think, you know, I get the Winans family is definitely very revered within the Christian genre, but... Vicki Winans in particular has just been such a special point for me in terms of my childhood. I've listened to her so much. I respect her songs quite a bit. And listening to this, I was like, you know, that does remind me kind of where I'm coming from with that particular genre of music. It just feels like stuff I used to listen to as a kid. So I'm surprised I really maybe didn't give Aretha Franklin an earlier look. But I'm very, again, like I said, I love these musical biopic movies because they do teach, they're like documentaries. They love, you know, obviously they're retellings, but they tell you about someone's life, and these are the types of movies I just love. I love learning information, especially people's stories. So for me, learning more about Aretha Franklin in the same way I learned about Judy Garland through Judy, it looks like, again, to the same level. I'm very excited for Respect. I'm looking forward to it. It could be another awards winner. Who knows? I think Jennifer Hudson's got potential. She is... It makes sense to me watching this. Yeah, she would be probably an original pick from Aretha Franklin because she sounds an awful lot like her. Incredible voice. Incredible vocals. I'm really looking forward to it. I love the cast, by the way. I mean, there's so many different cast members in the movie that I'm familiar with. I'm interested to see, because I have associated Marlon Wayans to a more comedic parody background, so that'll be an interesting new twist in terms of watching him. I haven't seen much of him outside of, what was the one movie I saw? I mean, it was heavily... I'm sure this is going to be much more classy and appropriate than... What was the movie? Scary Movie. That was the one. Very, very different, right? I'm sure. What are your guys' thoughts, though, on Respect? Let me know down below. Don't forget all the good stuff. Like it, subscribing, and sharing, hitting that bell. Until we get to watch more, I'll see you guys at whatever point that happens to be. But for now, thanks for watching this video. I love you guys. Never love yourselves, your fellow man. God bless, and peace.